Welcome to J House, where we interview people we admire who have developed skills and created cool things. We want to learn from their experiences to inspire us in our lives.
Today we're learning from Chris Ulmer about having empathy for those who are different from us. Chris set up the nonprofit Special Books by Special Kids, also called SBSK, where he does interviews with kids and adults who have a condition. He talks to people with Down syndrome, autism, severe burns, and many other conditions. And he shares their story with us, where they get to tell us how they feel or what it's like for them when they meet with other people in the park.
Or like what they want people to treat them like when they meet.
Do you know what empathy is?
Kind of. It's like being sad for someone when they're sad, or being nice to them, kind of.
I was looking it up, and it says empathy is sharing in another person's feelings or understanding their feelings. So when Chris was finishing his master's degree, he went in to do student teaching in a class with children who had autism and other neurological disorders. And he explained that it was different. It was kind of weird when he first went in.
I entered the classroom, took a look around. My first thought is, what in the world is going on? I don't understand it. Why is that kid pounding his desk yelling Hulk smash? Why is the other kid in the corner jumping? Nothing made sense to me, but I wanted to learn. I wanted to connect with the students.
But over the years, as he got to know the kids, he saw how cool they were. He really came to respect them and love them and see how funny they were and interesting. He said what he wished more than anything was that everybody else could see those kids the way he did, now that he knew them so well. And that was part of what sparked his desire to do Special Books by Special Kids. Now we're going to jump into our conversation with Chris Ulmer. Thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited.
What is Special Books by Special Kids?
That's a really good question, Caleb. So right now, it's a video series where I interview people living with different disabilities, kids and adults, and they explain what life is like for them.
In the last year or two, Caleb has been diagnosed with celiac disease and epilepsy. And we were just watching one of your videos where you were meeting with someone who had epilepsy. How did it make you feel, Caleb, to get to see somebody else's experience who's having seizures?
Well, it's really cool to see that there's other people in the world who have the same thing, because I've not met very many people with epilepsy. I've met a couple with celiac, but it's just really hard to feel like you're different than everybody else. And it's amazing to know that other people are experiencing what you're having.
Yeah. Chris, what is the mission of SBSK?
All right, we actually have a mission statement, and it's normalize the diversity of the human condition. So you said that when you saw that video, it helped you to realize there's other people like you out there. So that's exactly what we mean. There's hundreds of people, thousands, probably millions with the same story, the same conditions as you. And I can tell you, many of them are super successful. They're doing well in life. They're happy. They're joyful. So I think the more that we see that, the more we realize that all of these different conditions are just part of humanity, and we have to accept it, embrace it, and get on with life.
What helped you learn empathy when you were a kid?
I don't think I realized it when I was a kid, but going to my grandmom's house was so important. Now, my grandmom is the leading foster parent in Philadelphia. So that means she's fostered hundreds of kids who don't have families. She welcomed them into her home, and she fed them. She gave them a place to stay. She loved them. And then whenever they found homes, they would leave her. But going to my grandmom's house when I was little, I saw kids from all different backgrounds, kids who were old, kids who were young, kids from all different ethnicities. And just seeing how much that she loved everyone, I think that rubbed off a lot on me.
Caleb, I want you to imagine that you're at a park, you're swinging on the swings, and then up at the swing right next to you comes a kid who has burns all over their face. Or maybe they're in a wheelchair, or they're missing an arm. What do you do in that situation? Or what are you thinking? What goes through your mind?
Well, sometimes I'm kind of scared, because, like, I see somebody a lot different than me. I might be scared. But a lot of times I feel more sad than scared, because they're going through really hard stuff while I'm just having a basically normal life.
So, Caleb, how do we come to understand someone who's in a wheelchair or someone who's blind? How do we share in their feelings if we've never been blind or we've never been in a wheelchair?
I think you can be nice to them, become a friend, and then you can learn about them.
Mm-hmm.
If you know them and you're nice to them, you can understand how they feel.
Chris does an amazing job showing us how to connect with others, especially with those who may seem different from us. And Caleb, I want to show you one of my favorite examples.
I recently met a young man named Henry.
Circle.
Henry is on the autism spectrum, and during the interview, he was yelling out shapes. Square.
Square. Present.
I recognized Henry's naming of shapes as an attempt to communicate, a desire to connect. So I sat with Henry, and we formed a bond in a way which he felt comfortable. Rectangle.
Bus.
Circle.
Clock.
Triangle.
Pizza.
You're good. Every person in this world has a different level of communication. It doesn't matter if it's Henry, me, your great Aunt Marge, everyone has a little bit of a different frequency. But if we can adjust to these frequencies, you can form a meaningful connection with anybody.
Square looks like a present.
Let's open up the present. What's inside?
A puppy.
Is the puppy big or small?
Big.
Is it mean or nice?
Nice.
What does the puppy say?
Rough.
And once you can look someone eye to eye on their level, they will want to learn and grow with you.
So, Chris, after you would do these interviews, what kind of love and support did people receive from that?
One of my favorite ones, I was interviewing two young brothers who are both from Philadelphia. That's where I grew up, so this is why it's my favorite. One of them was wearing a Philadelphia Phillies baseball cap. That's the baseball team in Philadelphia. The other one was wearing a Philadelphia Eagles t-shirt. So after the interview, we published it. One of the linebackers on the Eagles saw the video. He then invited the two boys to go and meet the whole team. And this was a week before they won the Super Bowl. So these two boys got to go and meet the team, watch them practice, meet the quarterback, meet the coaches, get pictures, get a signed football. And then literally a week later, I think it was 2017 or 18, they got to watch them win the Super Bowl. So for me, being a guy who's from Philly and a big Philly sports fan, that was just such a special thing.
One question. Did you get to go with them?
No, I wish I did. But, just as cool, I got to watch the game with my dad, and we're both diehard Eagles fans, so that might have been even better.
Chris, this was a question you asked one of the people you were interviewing, and I wanted to hear your answer to this great question. If you could change anything about the world, what would it be?
Well, right now, I think it's really easy to get rid of this virus that's affecting so many things.
Yes.
But if it wasn't right now, I wish there was more equality. There's a lot of people in the world who are struggling, who don't have resources, who don't even know how they're going to get their next meal. So I wish there was more equality when it comes to things like food and shelter.
How important is love in being able to empathize with others?
Love is everything. The voices we hear from other people becomes our inner dialogue. So if you're surrounded by people who are negative, you form a negative self-image.
Chris, one of my favorite examples from your videos of how to share love was with the conversation you had with Hayden and his mother. In this situation, Hayden had a brain clot that left him unable to walk, unable to talk, and the doctors gave this very bad news to the mother. And Chris, in the video, you decided to tell Hayden what you thought the doctors should have said to him.
When Hayden was born, the doctors told him and his family all the negatives. Right now, I'm going to sit here and tell Hayden everything I think his family and him should have heard when he was born. You are going to have a profound impact in this world. Everyone around you is going to be filled with love because of you. With every life you touch, you're going to permanently impact them for the better. You're going to spread so much joy and love, more than any doctor or any professional could really comprehend. The world is going to be a better place because you were in it. I'm really glad a guy as great as you exists in this world.
I really wanted to make sure Caleb had the chance to see that example of love. And I really think that's at the core of empathy. And before we finish, I just was wondering if there's a final example you could give of one of the most meaningful experiences you've had as you've gone around and done these interviews.
Yeah, there was one moment that just will always stick with me. And we did a series with my friend Kane, who had a DIPG brain tumor. And that's a very rare type of cancer. And the life expectancy after somebody is diagnosed is about 10 months. Rarely does somebody live more than 10 months after initial diagnosis. So every month or so, we would film an update because once he was diagnosed, he went to YouTube and typed it in, and there wasn't a lot of information. So he reached out to me and he said his goal was just to create a resource for people in the future who were diagnosed. So every month he actually lived just an hour south of me. I would drive down and interview him. And every month, physically, he got a little bit worse. Mentally, he was still doing well. Well, about exactly 10 months after he was first diagnosed, his family told me, if you want to interview him one last time, he really wants to do it, you're going to have to come this week. So we knew his time was coming close. I drove down there, and behind the camera, I asked him, what's the toughest thing about this? And he said, the toughest thing is not knowing if I'll be able to watch my parents, not knowing if I'll be able to watch my brother's wedding. And as he said that, it was emotional because he was my friend. So I started to cry. And as soon as he saw me crying, he smiled, reached out, grabbed my hand and squeezed it and said, it's all right. So I think that moment taught me that no matter what you're going through, you can still be positive and support other people. So now in my life, whenever I have a challenge, I think to myself, well, if he was dealing with that, all of that, and in that moment, he could still be nice and reach out and hold my hand, then I never have an excuse to be mean.
Like, even though Kane was facing death, he saw that you were struggling and was concerned about what you were feeling and how he could comfort you. Chris, we really love SBSK. We're so grateful for the videos you make and the way that they help us learn to love and empathize with others.
If you liked what you heard, we'd love for you to leave a podcast review. To follow along on our family's adventures, connect with us at JHouse Vlogs on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
Thanks for listening. J House out.